I had the good fortune to be with probably the finest high school coach in the country, Coach Billy Martin, when he first got it started. Every opportunity we had, Billy Martin was taking us somewhere. We went up to went up to Long Island and wrestled in the National AAU tournament. We got up there, and it turned out my first match was with, I didn't know who it was, so I asked Coach Martin, who am I wrestling? And he says, Eddie, some kid from out west. Well, it turned out he had just won the NCAA tournament 2 weeks before that. And I left a good part of my shoulder on the mat, but I came away and sat back and watched until he got to the finals, and then I had a chance to wrestle a couple of matches and came away with a fourth place medal. So that was a pretty good start. Lehigh was sort of in the cards and the place for me to go right from the day one. And that tournament I talked about as a sophomore, Coach Billy Sheridan was there and saw me, and then I finally got an offer and had a scholarship, which was the only way I was going to go to college in those days. Lehigh was a member of the EIWA, Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association. And my freshman year at Lehigh, Penn State, which was a member of that organization, won the NCAA tournament. I think it's the only time an Eastern team has won. But not only was Penn State there, that same year, Cornell had 3 Eastern Intercollegiate champions. At the same time, there was an NCAA champion by the name of Perry from Pittsburgh, and there were a couple of others equally good from Annapolis. The next 2 years later, when I was a junior, it was at Cornell College, Ithaca. 5 of the 10 NCAA champions were from the Eastern Intercollegiate. I'm sure that that was the toughest league during those few years in the 50s, anywhere in the country. My sophomore year, I made it to the finals, and I had the good fortune of wrestling Myron Roderick, who in my estimation was the finest wrestler in the country in those days. His most successful move were in takedowns, and that was not exactly my strongest suit, to say the least. But I had been able to get by with weak takedowns and wrestle on the mat and work on pins, but at the end of the first period, Myron had taken me down 3 times, and that was about the end of it. The next year, the Nationals were back in the East. They were in Oklahoma that year, and they were up in Cornell, and I had a little bit better success. I managed to get to the finals, and before it was finished, I managed to get a pin on the finals. That was what I was trained to do and what we learned to do wrestling as we got started. And by that time, Jerry had convinced me I need to work on takedowns. The next year we were back in Oklahoma, and I got off to a really good start with I think I had 3 pins in the first 3 matches. And then when I got to the semifinals, I ran into a gentleman that was really tough, and I met Davey Adams in the finals. We'd met in the finals in the Easterns as well. He's from Penn State, and I was able to hold forth, although he made a tough run. The next year, Davey was the champion. Myra and I were in the same class, so we were both seniors in '56, which was an Olympic year. So Myra and I didn't wrestle again in junior and senior year. We were in different weight classes in the Nationals, but we ended up in the same weight class trying out for the Olympics. They had a bad mark system, and then if you got enough bad marks, you were out, and they narrowed it down to 3 of us. And one was Myron Roderick, one was myself, and the other one was Alan Rice. And we ended up each winning and losing one. So they went back to the bad marks in various rounds, and that put Myron in first place and Alan in second, and I went home and I went to work for IBM. Probably the best, without a doubt, the best part of my life was the young lady I married. We grew up as next door neighbors. 2 weeks after I graduated from Lehigh, we got married and went up and started our life together in Endicott, New York, or working for IBM. Being inducted to the National Wrestling Hall of Fame is certainly the ultimate honor a wrestler can get. The thing that makes it meaningful is the people I'm going to be with, and particularly my high school coach and my college coach. Billy Martin was a fantastic coach and knew how to teach fundamentals and motivate and get people to work hard for him. Jerry Lehman was the ultimate wrestler. He took me from having a good basic fundamental and gave me the skills I needed in order to succeed.